Playing the new Chinese Tier 10 heavy tank, the 113, which is slightly an odd name since it's simply just a 3-digit number. As you can see here, it looks sort of like a medium heavy hybrid of a Russian Chinese design. It's basically just a longer medium hull, but the main difference is the frontal armor here on the Glacius is 68 degrees, aside for that little machine gun weak spot. But since it's 68 degrees and 120 millimeters, it will produce a lot of bounces, which is the case because it's just under the 70-degree auto bounce range. So if you're on a slight terrain difference where your frontal Glacius goes over 70 degrees, it will produce a ton of bounces no matter what is shooting at you. The main problem with that is the gun depression isn't too great. It's similar to the IS-7, so while not the worst, it's not the best either. The gun elevation, like other Chinese tanks, isn't the best either, but it's good enough to where it won't be a huge downside. The one good feature about this tank is it's one of the most mobile Tier 10 heavy tanks. While it's not as fast as the 50B, as you can see here, it can keep up with them. And it's actually quicker than the Chinese medium Tier 10 tank. Even though they are very similar in shape, size, and everything, they also have pretty much the same gun other than the reload. The heavy tank has a better power to weight ratio since its engine has a lot more horsepower. Even though it has a speed limit of 50 kilometers an hour, due to the better engine, it will go a lot quicker than the Chinese medium, except for downhills. Huh, I missed someone back there. As you can see here, the reload is 9.2 seconds. It's with 100% crew, rammers, and a vent and a vertical stabilizer. So couple that with the 440 average damage instead of the usual 400 damage of other tanks like the E5 or AMX-50B. It does have slightly more DPM than an E5, but it's not enough that it's a huge difference. The hull armor isn't the best either. It's only 90 millimeters, so you can't really angle this tank a lot. You can angle it about 10-15 degrees, but you don't want to make it to where your sides are under 70 degrees, or else people will go right through it. Basically, this tank excels at a lot of stuff, but it really doesn't have one spot where it's good. It's really an all-around heavy tank, much like the E5, except for the armor on the 113 heavy tank. It's a lot thinner at 120 millimeters, and it relies solely on the 8 or 68 degree armor. If you take any of the armor off of that, or if someone's at close range and is shooting at you to where it's not 68 degrees, it really does limit the amount of protection you have. People will be able to go through it pretty easily. And then another downside, even though you can't really see that since I haven't gotten shot this match, is the driver and the gunner do die a lot on this tank. And also the ammo rack and fuel tanks, since they're in the front behind the Glacius. If you get penetrated at all in the front or even in the sides from the turret up, they will get damaged a lot. So you can negate that by making sure that you don't get shot in the sides, but even just one unlucky shell in the side of your tank will either detonate your ammo rack if they hit it dead on, or light you on fire via your fuel tanks. So it's just one downside, but overall this is a very mobile heavy tank, which compared to the Chinese medium, it's actually more mobile, except for the top speed, which is a little bit strange, but it does give slightly different gameplay. Since you have to rely on your frontal armor here, you have to make sure that you keep the 68 degrees on it, and if you add a couple more degrees vertically, it will auto bounce basically everything if you get it over 70 degrees. The main problem is the lower hull isn't all that strong, and then if you do angle a little bit horizontally, the 90mm side armor comes into play, and that's very weak. And plus, the turret armor is 240mm in the front, which is very good, but these flat parts here, right next to the mantlet, can be penetrated pretty easily by tier 10 tanks. While these little slots aren't weak spots, they are flatter than the other armor, so it takes off some of the effective armor. And also the hatches are relatively easy to hit at close range on this tank, which negates some of that turret armor. So as you can see here, the hit points also are 2500, which is very good for a heavy tank. While not the best, it ranks it above like the E5 and the AMX-50B, which it will be compared to since it's a mobile heavy tank with a DPM gun. And then just looking at the gun stats, its base rate of fire is 5.5, 440 average damage, and then the accuracy is 0.36, which isn't too bad, but the aim time is 2.7. So while this is really mobile, it does struggle a little bit since it takes nearly 3 seconds to aim in.